Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of Midweek Matters. I'm your host James Graham, joined by
Charlie White. How are you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm going good, mate. More importantly, how are you?
Man, I've been better. I've had a real slow few days recovering from Magic Round. It was a big weekend, and Sunday I got back home from Brisbane. I was feeling very low. I even was sitting there watching Instagram reels. And I started crying watching one of the Instagram reels. Like mentally I was gone. So, and it was a reel about How I Met Your Mother that randomly popped up, and it was
the TV show.
Yeah, and just how it was emotional, and it got me. And
it's nice to see that you're in touch with your emotional side.
Yeah, well, I was certainly Sunday night. I'm sort of starting to come good as the week's gone on. How are you going?
I'm going all right, mate. Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty happening up there. I had a couple of presentations the day before.
Busiest man in Magic Round, James Graham, everybody.
No, but just on being busy. You're laying a claim for that at the moment.
Why is that?
Well, last week came into the studio. You had some really nice looking food that you were eating, and I was like, "Oh, where'd you get that from?" Thinking it's close by. Maybe I'll go and replicate your purchase. Oh, mate, actually, I got this yesterday. I've just not had time to eat it. I thought, that will fucking do me, Charlie. Like, that is an absolute special.
Well, I got it, and then I had to run in. Well,
that you can't even eat that.
That's not true.
Well, that's what you said.
But so I got that, and then I just had then called into something, so then I whacked it in the fridge, and then I just didn't get back to having it.
So busy, you can't even no time to eat.
Mate, you're so busy as well. It was great to see you on television, radio, live podcast, and you even found time for a 10K run every single day as well.
Not every single day.
Most days.
You were perplexed by that 10K run, weren't you?
I was a bit, because you came in so high energy after going for this run, and then you grabbed yourself a glass of champagne as soon as the run finished, and you're pouring in sweat. Like, I've never seen any human sweat like this. And you ran straight away and you grab a champagne and you're dancing around the hotel lobby. You're getting sweat all over me. It was the most annoying thing ever. But
I was so happy at that, because you were like, you're actually sweating on me.
Well, mate, I just got a shower and you're literally pouring sweat on me.
It was like more flicking off you. That's what hard work looks like, Charlie.
Well, I actually do have another bone to pick with you.
What's that?
I came and picked you up yesterday.
Yeah.
We had Jason Nightingale coming out Sunday.
Yeah.
And you told me to be there for 12:50, which was fine. So I got there for 12:50, and then I text him, call you, mate, where are you? It's like 12:53 at this stage. You're like, I'm just getting myself a coffee. I'll be 2 seconds. I'm like, well, don't fucking get me there for 12:50, and then you go get yourself a coffee, get yourself sorted.
No, because the train was late. Because, as you know, I've lost my car keys.
Yep.
Just listen to anybody out there. You get 2 sets of car keys. If you lose one, get the other one replaced, because it's not a cheap endeavor to get a whole new set, get it all replaced. It's starting to make me wonder, should we go back to just the old regular 10 key? Now, they're not electronic, so you just have to get a copy of the key made.
Right.
But this is like, and it's Mission Desert Fox to get this, like a new set of keys.
It's like a couple grand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like $200 if you got the spare, or maybe even a bit less. Depends what car you got, I guess. Yeah.
So a stitch in time saves 9. So get yourself, if you're out there listening to this and thinking, I've got nothing to worry about, well, when you call the person to say, I need a new set of keys, and they say, oh, it's a couple of grand, don't say I didn't tell you so.
One thing that you did tell us all about, and you were wrong about, and we should take our licks for it, is the Wayne Bennett to Parramatta Eels. We came in here Monday night and we were certain that there was more at play. Wayne Bennett could be going to Parramatta. Unfortunately, or fortunately for the Rabbitohs fans, he's going to South Sydney. That all got confirmed Tuesday afternoon, and people have been letting us know how wrong we were in the comments.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong.
It is.
But you know what? If I was to be able to time travel and have that moment all over again, I would say exactly the same thing. Because it did look as if he was going to go to Parramatta based off solid evidence. And it's okay to be wrong. Like, no issue with that.
No.
I'm going to predict the New South Wales and the Queensland team.
Yeah.
And I'll be wrong about that as well. Like, Monday evening, it comes out, Brad Arthur's sacked. Hello, Souths haven't announced it yet. Like, everybody was going, this is going to happen. Like, Para are going to come to the party. It wouldn't surprise me if they went back to the table again and tried one last attempt to get Wayne Bennett to see if they could turn his head. Like, it's a huge appeal to go to Parramatta for a person like him, for a coach like him. And the fact that Souths hadn't got the deal done just left them open to this happening. And there was enough red flags there to say, I think this is going to happen.
I think what it does say, though, is it just makes Parramatta's behaviour even stranger.
Charlie, exactly.
Because the fact that they came out and admitted to losing the Wayne Bennett race, is they just didn't need to. They could have said, yeah, we had preliminary conversations. We knew he was going to South Sydney the whole time, so we sort of stepped away.
Yeah. And they publicly came out and said, we made a decision on May the 1st that Brad Arthur wasn't going to be our coach.
Yeah.
So why not just sack him then?
100%.
And then people would have gone, oh, they're going to go after Wayne. This is a play for Wayne. Well, it was true. Why just leave Brad there to... I just don't understand that way of thinking whatsoever.
And even the fact that they didn't let him have a chance for Moses and Gutho to come back. I'm telling you, any football club, if you take their two best players out of it, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, of course they are. Moses has been out for a large chunk of time, so you've waited this long. Moses will be out for another week and then he's back. So wait for him to come back. I think now, personally, I can't see them doing anything this year. So, and even the way they went about it, because I was critical of Souths and the way the players found out via the media on 360 that Jason Dimitri was going to be sacked. And then with Brad Arthur's situation, they basically get a text or a phone call. They had the opportunity to have a training session at some point this week, and those power brokers, let Brad know that he's not going to be playing there, and then address the playing group directly rather than just on a phone call. So if this is already set up from May the 1st, why do it the Monday after the Magic Round? Why not just wait until you've got everybody in the room and you can field those questions and become united in your approach on how you're going to get through this? It just seems I just don't it boggles the mind.
We'll get into the candidates shortly of who you think they should go after. There's obviously a long list now that even your good mate Mickey Ennis is on there. But I would just say Brad Arthur has handled this incredibly. He's come out, he's spoken to everyone.
Very classy.
Yeah. And he is a very highly respected man in the game, and he's not going to struggle to get another NRL gig.
No, and he should be very proud of what he's managed to achieve there at Parramatta. Obviously took over. They were down near the bottom of the NRL ladder and made them into a consistent finals performer all but 1 year there for about 4 or 5 years. And then we interviewed him on 360 yesterday. And I think that admission that they got the grand final achievement wrong in terms of it should be celebrated. This is an accomplishment, not instead of being, well, yeah, it's great, but we didn't get what we set out to do. So, let's get back to work. And that can be ruthless. That can be problematic within itself. But I experienced that at the Dogs in 14 when it was seen as it probably paved over a few cracks and, bought people more time and bought the players, the coaches, everybody just bought them time, which is great and it should, and it does, but it probably just diverts attention from where it should be directed.
You could argue they're the team that's taken it to Penrith the most over the last few years as well.
Yeah.
Which is a huge accomplishment in itself. Penrith is one of the best teams ever in the NRL.
Well, the team that knows how to beat them.
Yeah. They almost got them the year before the grand final in that final as well, which was was that at Mackay, that final? Was the weird COVID? Darwin, yeah, somewhere. It was, yeah. They almost got them that year, and they might go on to win the premiership if they get that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. It was really close, wasn't it?
Yeah. They had him. They just couldn't quite get a try. They just couldn't quite break through Penrith's defense. But huge achievement by Brad Arthur.
Yeah. And again, very classy in his exit. Jason Demetriou has been the same.
Yep.
Like, there's no animosity towards the club. They sort of accept it and looking to move on. So, yeah, it was interesting hearing Brad speak last night, and this is the psyche and the mentality of most head coaches. They kind of it's like, oh, I was up at 4 this morning, ready to go to work. It's an interesting point actually, because I think the player transition piece, but the coaches need help after they're no longer coaching, whether that be short term or long term, because I think those are the group of people that are probably institutionalized the most. As much as you think you are as a player, when you're a coach, it's normal to watch every game of football from 3 different angles, and it's normal to get up at 4 o'clock and go and just engross yourself in football and be calling, and where that's their normal, that's their reality, and then it is a complete switch off. It's not a dial down. It's not like, oh, I'm getting ready for the off season, I can just relax a little bit more. It is completely just shut off. You are no longer needed. Almost, it's a big part of your identity and who you are in any walk of life. But I don't think there's any switch off quite like coaching.
No, but there could be some great jobs that come available for Brad in the next couple of years. I mean, one that springs to mind for me is the Cowboys. Obviously, things are not going great for them at the moment, but if you're a coach, you'd look at that roster and go, yes, please, I'd love to take over that club.
Well, it is, Charlie, and to be fair, even looking at Parramatta, I think they're not far off just having a few tweaks and from being a top 8 contender again. And there's plenty of coaches out there. Like the list is just, it's probably going to come down to what Parramatta want. Like, where do they think this group of players is? Because you've got clearly Gutherson, Moses, the big dogs within the group. You've got probably Borlo, RCG. They're the lads that dominate the dressing room in terms of the forwards. So what do they need? What do the rest of the squad need? Obviously, they went for Wayne Bennett. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that this squad needs that sort of figurehead that's going to come in and dictate and that master coach. Well, there's not many of them available, but just because you were going to go for him doesn't mean you'd go for experience. I think Wayne is Wayne, and then the rest you'd look at and go, okay, well, what does this group need? That's what Para probably need to figure out. But there's so many candidates, even like Mary McGregor. Like, he was one of the coaches that was linked heavily to the Newcastle job, wants to coach again.
Was an assistant at Parramatta.
The year they got to the grand final. Correct. As well. So obviously knows what success looks like there.
I'll give you some of the candidates. Justin Holbrook's name's come up. Obviously, Trent Barrett is the interim coach. He's a chance. Jason Demetriou's name is there, and Michael Maguire, Jason Riles, and Mick Ennis. That's believed to be the shortlist.
Well, you could even throw Billy Slater in there. I know Billy Slater has said how happy he is coaching Queensland, the balance in life that he's got, but Para have indicated they've got a willingness to throw some serious money.
I think with Billy Slater, I think he's just going to wait till Craig Bellamy retires, even if that's 3-4 years away. I just think he's. I think that's probably where he'll end up.
You're right. Yeah, forget that then. Yeah, you're right. He is going to. If he's going to coach, it'll be at Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some great candidates there. Where they go, I don't know, because there's appeal and there's risk in almost all of them. And what's going to appease the fans, like the appetite of the fans, which you kind of have to consider for the general all-round mood of the decision, and then like who's going to get the best out of the players, who can they relate to, who's going to be able to recognize the situation that they're in and get them from that, who's been in and around that type of system before. So the candidates, I think Holbrook would be a surprise, because I think the Roosters wouldn't want to let him go, and the Roosters have given him a chance, and we know that they've been burnt with their assistants before, and I imagine that contract is watertight. So hard to envisage Holbrook going just because of he's back in at the Roosters, and I think speaking to him, he's very grateful for that opportunity. So hard to see him turning his back on that. Barrett, I mean, he's in there now. I imagine they're going to make a decision within 4 or 5 weeks.
The tough thing with Barrett is, though, just how his last 2 jobs have gone.
Yeah.
That is a huge risk to bring him on full time.
Yeah, based off his previous record.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's harsh, but fair. Demetriou obviously had that previous experience at Souths. I think he'd be one of the front runners.
Yep. You spend a lot of time with him. He's one of the great minds in the game. He really, if you hear him talk, when he's talking footy, like you just know he'd be an amazing coach.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. And got that experience of a big club like South Sydney. Speaking to him as a peer, he's learnt so many lessons from that. So he'd be one of the front runners. Madge has come back in, but let's not forget his last job at the Tigers. That was a more difficult job. And then he's New South Wales coach. He did a fantastic job with the Kiwis. I think he can't get distracted. Because again, I think Para would want to make a decision. I suppose they're not under any time pressure, but they'd want a quicker decision than.
He's got a good manager. I tell you what, Madge. He's every job that comes up, his name's right there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good manager or just people know he can coach.
Yeah, but his last couple, the Tigers thing was a disaster. It was a disaster.
Yeah, but it was the Tigers.
Yeah, I know, but still. And then the end at South Sydney wasn't great either.
Yeah, but you take that ending because of what he achieved there. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of coaches have that team have that supernova moment and then think they can keep doing it with that same group, and they look back at decisions that they made. If you telling me that Parramatta wouldn't take the supernova moment, win the premiership, and then if it turns to shit, it turns to shit.
Of course, but South Sydney's roster had so many leaders that would have suited Madge's style of coaching. Sam Burgess would have been one of the loudest voices in the dressing room, taking what Madge's saying, that intensity, and communicating to the players, and elevating Madge as a coach because of the players he had. I don't know if that Parramatta roster is the same style of mentality. There's a lot of tough players, which suits Madge's style, whereas Parramatta's, that's not really their style.
No, it's true. I still think Madge will be in the frame. I think, like I say, McGregor will be in the frame. Jason Riles probably would have got the Dragons job if it wasn't for a couple of factors there. I think he was nailed on, and then there was a last-minute U-turn. So clubs are willing to take on that new coach, and we've seen how successful new coaches, Webster, the job that he's done over in New Zealand, Cam Serraldo, they both come out of that Penrith system. So does that then make you think about Peter Wallace potentially?
Yep.
Because, that they seem to have not just a production line of players, but also coaches. But back on Riles, I think he's the person that spoke about that next cab off the rank. And, he's been waiting in the wings for Bellamy to go. And I think there's a promise there, but I think if Parra came knocking, he'd look at that and go, yes, please. And then, Michael Innes, who has spent time at Parramatta as well. Now at Manly, I think it's 2 days a week, maybe. And we can all see his football brain. We all see that. be an interesting one. Like I have absolutely no doubt, knowing Mick, working with Mick, that he could do it. Just whether or not he actually wants to, which I think I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, but he knows it'd be a massive all-in push, and he's got a fantastic job there at Fox that he wouldn't want to jeopardise. It'd be a big risk, but he could do it. But again, do Para want that more experienced person that's been through this before?
Yeah. My gut instinct is they'll go after Jason Riles.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I think that'll be he'll be one of the front runners for sure.
Just on coaching, there was a little part of the Luke Burgess interview that I thought was really interesting where Luke asked you what your sliding doors moment was. And you said it was getting rejected for the Dragons assistant coach job.
Yes.
I don't think you've spoken about that before.
No.
So what's the story with that?
I was back in it. I left the Dragons playing roster. McGregor was still there. A few people had asked about, what I was doing next year. I think most people thought I was going to move back to England for good. That was never my intention. The intention was to move back to Australia, but obviously I needed some work. So some people at the Dragons were like, "Well, let us know. I'm sure we'd love to fit you in somewhere." So yeah, I went back to England, and then while I was there, McGregor was sacked and Griffin was appointed. Hornby was also moving on, and so was Dean Young. Sorry. So I knew there was some roles available. I spoke with Hook and said I want to throw my hat in the ring for one of those assistant coaches jobs. So, yeah, threw my hat in the ring and
he turned you down?
Didn't get it, yeah. So,
yeah. Who did they go with instead?
Can't remember.
Obviously, you don't know what life would have been like as an assistant coach. You don't know if you might be the Dragons' full-time head coach now. If Hook ended up moving on. Is there any? Are you really happy with how things have worked out? Is there any question mark over that life? What it could have been?
Of course, I ponder quite often, like, what would life have looked like, or what would life be like if you just don't know. But I guess at the time, Charlie, there was so much anxiety and fear of the unknown, and which the unknown was this non-football world that I've been a part of my entire adult life. So like 17, 18 years of knowing what to wear, what time to be somewhere, in a familiar environment of having a field, a gym, a coach's office, dealing with very similar people in terms of age and demographic and drive and ambition and all the things that come with a football club and also like it's what I've not just environment what I've known, but I felt like that's where my level of expertise were at and where I would naturally fit into. I had harboured an ambition to want to be a coach for as far back as I can remember. I guess it was just the natural, organic pathway that I figured I'd finish playing and then go into coaching. And yeah, I guess I wanted to hit the ground running and be that assistant coach again, fearful of the unknown, the outside, everything else going on. But it got knocked back. And maybe if I had gone down that route, obviously the media stuff probably doesn't happen.
There's no buy around here.
There's no buy around.
Buy around with Wade Graham, it could have been.
You wouldn't have been so inventive with that name. You'd have called it like, I don't know, the Wade Graham podcast.
Wade's World.
Wade's World, yeah, there you go. So yeah, it is something I think about, like the sliding doors moment of like, how life would have looked. It would have been all consuming all over again. Maybe I'd have cracked it after a year and just gone, or had a look behind the curtain for a month or two and gone, this ain't for me. Because I have had a little look behind the curtain and see what goes into it, and wow, the assistant coaches, like, they work so hard. Like, they almost don't have a life outside of football.
Yeah.
The head coaches don't have a life outside of football. Now, there's part of my personality that really appeals to, but there's also a part of my personality that it doesn't.
Man, I'm sure if you did it, you would have been really successful in it. You know, the one thing that the rugby league world's going to miss?
What?
If you had gone down coaching, you would have taken Craig Bellamy's blow-ups and turned it into another level in the coach's box. I could just see you going absolutely crazy. You get a little glimpse of that in your commentary in the box when something happens and you just go crazy and blow up. But if it was your team who was done it or something, you would just have exploded. And that's something that we're going to miss as rugby league fans, unfortunately.
Yeah. I reckon there would be some confrontation with the match officials.
Yeah.
I could, like, a coaching ban. Like, did Ricky Stewart get banned and he had to, like, call the team? He got banned. He was not allowed at the stadium.
Was that during COVID, maybe, or was he coaching from home for COVID? So something like that, wasn't it? I can't remember anyway.
No, I'm sure there's been a coach, like, not allowed.
Well, there's a classic Jose Mourinho story where he was banned from going to the game because he got sent off the previous week or whatever. He then snuck into the Chelsea stadium in a laundry basket, and they wheeled him in, and they found a little room for him to sit and watch the game in, and then they put him in the laundry basket, rolled him into the dressing room. Yeah, they did. Rolled him into the dressing room, did the talk, got back in the laundry basket, and got wheeled back to his room.
Is that?
Yeah, that's legit.
Can we fact check that?
Yeah, mate, Jose Mourinho spoken about that story.
Really?
Yeah, we'll try to find it.
That is, that's brilliant. I guess, Matt, in terms of, what coaching would have looked like, I guess you just, I'd never know. Again, you can be naive. Even doing this, Charlie, like, I was naive to how a podcast looks and just think anyone can do it. But there's a fair bit that goes into it, right? Like, it's not just like, when we first started and you and Tony, I was like, no, we don't need to film it.
Yeah.
Like, why do we need to film it?
Yeah.
You were like, no, we do. And I was pretty adamant that,
who cares?
like, who gives a shit? Like, no. And you were like, no, we need to put it on, like, TikTok. I'm like, fucking TikTok. There's people dancing. You got YouTube. I was like, just cat videos.
Yeah. Who's going to watch this?
Yeah, who's going to watch that?
Yeah.
It's like, but
it's a massive part of it.
You and Tony were right.
Yeah.
So,
and I've even got my lovely girlfriend Siobhan working here today as well. So it's a family business, the bar.
Family business,
it really is. Speaking of the family,
yes,
Brandon Smith, he's a part of the Byron family here. And there was some stupid headlines that came out of people speculating on social media about a video of him and some other Roosters teammates supposedly doing bags on screen. It couldn't be further from the truth.
And like the day before the game.
Yeah, so that's the real story. I don't think people know that. That's worth saying. The video is from the day before the game on Taylor May's Twitch stream. They were doing a live stream giving away signed jerseys, socks, other you know, apparel.
Trying to do something good.
Yeah.
You've been falsely accused of whatever, but yeah. Like, I don't think any athlete would be, you know, advertising that to the world if they were doing that the night before the game. Look, people are entitled to their opinion, but just be careful, because, like, I'm all for freedom of speech and you can make claims and allegations. There are laws in and around that, so you got to be careful with that. But I mean more just be careful in terms of you want players to be open. You want them to open the door to their life, to have the look behind the scene. And I've not seen the video, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it sounds the information that I've been presented with, it seems like just some lads that are having a muck around, and, you know, if you're not careful, they'll just stop doing it. That you won't get that little bit of access night before the game, bit of fun. Like, I don't know. I think the Roosters are taking action on that to find out who is the instigator for the false allegations. But I mean, people make allegations all the time, and there's rumor and innuendo and gossip. It's I don't know.
It's dangerous though. Like it's the people can jump on social media and say whatever they fucking want.
It is potentially dangerous, but and you know what? If you throw enough shit at the wall, some will stick.
Yeah, and mate, I know Cheese. Like I've spoken to Cheese. He had a tough day yesterday. You know, the family like reaching out. Everyone started panicking. He's obviously had that incident before a few years ago. He would never put himself in a position like that ever again.
You've got to assume he wouldn't know.
No, and like I mean, it's just ridiculous. People can hop online and start speculating stuff, and then it gets traction so quickly. That's the issue.
It is ridiculous, and you know what? As wrong as it is, I defend people's rights to say it.
Yeah, right. Why?
Why? Because I think freedom of speech is.
But what if you're talking absolute nonsense?
I know.
If you're talking absolute nonsense,
but I can't. For me, freedom of speech comes above the fact that you can talk shit, and I think it's such an important value that underpins a functioning society and democracy. Because without freedom, I am so anti-compelled speech, anti-free speech.
But we don't have free speech in Australia as well. We actually don't have that legally.
Well, I know because there's things like
racism and
hate speech laws.
Yeah.
Look, it's just if you want to say shit and offend people, go for your life, but understand there'll be consequences. It's not a freedom to say whatever you want, but I defend the right for people to talk nonsense. Hey, we've got this podcast going, Charlie.
Yeah. Well, you got to be careful what you say on this podcast.
Well, you
because
do, exactly.
Defamation exists.
Of course, we've got to be very careful. And I'd like to think that I wouldn't say anything without an evidence backing, i.e. the Wayne Bennett to Parramatta.
Yeah.
Oh, you talk nonsense, shut us down. Look, there's a very fine line. I don't agree with the people that they're saying, but I agree with their right to say it.
Yeah. And just for the record, it's all nonsense. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
And the Roosters have come out and gone hard.
Yeah. We've gone off track a little bit there.
Yeah. Rugby League podcast. But
Origin. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Origin. You're going to pick your New South Wales and Queensland team for us now.
Yes.
And I think we'll start with New South Wales because obviously you're a New South Welshman at heart. If you could play for anyone, you'd be playing for New South Wales.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, discrimination, not allowed to.
Yeah.
Purely off where I was born.
It would have been good to see you play Origin, but I think it would take away from the spectacle if you just start letting everyone in. It becomes more of an all-stars game.
Charlie, they have to be strict on this.
Yeah.
Has to remain New South Wales versus Queensland.
Queensland Spirit versus New South Wales.
Well, just the power of hate.
Yeah.
What's the point in allowing people that aren't qualified to be there?
Yeah.
So, born or qualified, like...
Yeah. However, just talking about that, I would have Victor Radley be allowed to play Origin in that scenario. He's got a great ties to England. His dad is a proper Pommy. Fair enough, he goes and plays for England. But then he's a New South Welshman through and through. I think in those scenarios, you should be allowed to do both.
Well, there's plenty of people in the teams I'm about to pick that wouldn't necessarily play for Australia.
No,
we
should play for Samoa
Australia.
or Tonga. Yeah.
So why England should be any... I don't know. We're going off course. But you know what? I just want to say, listeners, look, these are my New South Wales teams. My New South Wales and Queensland team. Please don't get angry if you don't agree with it. It's just an opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean it's your right. But again, I defend your right to say that I am wrong. So, because, Matt, you know what? People, if there's one issue in the game that fires people up, it's a predicted team.
Yep.
Like, I could say, what games are happening this weekend? I could say the Cowboys and Tigers is going to be the best game of the season, and people will go, "Fucking idiot!" Well, no, it's not. I could say I'm going to pick Latrell Mitchell in the centres for. Oh my God! Yeah. How the hell can you do that? Like it. This
It
is
fires up the
trigger
everyone.
warning, everybody. Here's my New South Wales team: James Tedesco at fullback, Toto and Josh Adokar on the wings. That was tough between Adokar and Sualihi.
No Lomax.
No Lomax.
Okay.
Latrell Mitchell and Stephen Crichton in the centres. Hines at 7. I've got Matt Burton at 6.
Okay. That's probably one of the more up in the air positions.
Yeah, and look, deliberated between Cody Walker, Jerome Luai, and Matt Burton. I just think, I've gone with Burton.
Yep.
Payne Haas, Api Coruscant, Jake Tebovic, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, and Cameron McInnes at lock.
Cam McInnes over Isaiah Yeo.
And the bench of Lenu, Isaiah Yeo, Hudson Young, Andrew Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Okay. So no room for Angus Crichton in there. But that means,
No, Angus Crichton's in the on the edge.
Oh, sorry. I missed that.
So
No Olakawatu.
No Olaquatu.
Okay. What's made you go with McInnes over Yeo? Because that's probably the biggest decision of the lot.
I think Yeo coming off the bench would be the better option. I think that could be interchangeable, the McInnes swap with Yeo, or bring McInnes in to start at 9, have Yeo at lock, and then Appy off the bench. So the reason I've gone with McInnes, that all-action style, Isaiah Yeo probably doesn't get enough credit for his carries, but is more of a ball-playing lock. I think he started off the bench in last year's game 3, which they won as well.
He had a tough series last year.
Yeah. I just think for the balance of the team, Yeo off the bench works better with Lenu, with Campbell-Gillard, and with Young off the bench. A big bench, so people aren't stressed about long minutes.
I love you picking Lenu.
Lenu has to play.
Yeah.
He's the only specialist bench forward in the game. He has to play. Has to.
He's not in a lot of predicted teams though.
Well, he's got to be in there.
Yeah. And I think Madge loves that style of forward as well. That big guy.
He comes on and just skittles people. He is a game changer.
Yeah.
We talk about Penrith and what they're missing. They adapted their style, and maybe they're missing Crichton, but I think they're missing Lenu.
Yep. He's going to be unbelievable.
I don't think people realize that's the thing that is not spoken about with Penrith Panthers. Oh, they're missing Stephen Crichton, the leader that he is and the leader that he was. And obviously they've had Taylor May come in, and he's not playing at the moment. But I reckon they're missing Lenu more.
Yeah. And I mean, I think he's also got that personality where Origin would get the best out of him. He'd sort of relish that opposition, against going up his opposition. He's loud, he's brash, he's going to go in there and try and intimidate his opposition. It's going to work out well.
Sorry, I shouldn't say maybe they're missing him more, but I think they don't. It's an oversight that they're missing Lenu, and it's more focused on Crichton.
Yeah, well, man,
and they're still playing really well.
And I suspect that's why a lot of weeks Leota's coming off the bench. They've swapped him to a bench role because they're trying to. Obviously Ivan Cleary's feeling the same way.
Yeah,
that's a very solid team. Queensland. Who have you got?
Reece Walsh, Selwyn Cobbo, and Coates on the wings. Hammer and Holmes in the centre partnership. Dearden and DCE, the halfback pairing. Collins, Cotter up front with Harry Grant / Ben Hunt. Nanai and Kafusi Carrigan.
Kafusi, cool. Back in there.
Yep. I really like Kafusi.
Yep.
I really like him.
So is Fafita on your bench, David Fafita?
So Hunt / Grant on the bench. Fafita, Christian Welsh, and Mo Fodawaker.
Okay.
Just quickly back to New South Wales. I haven't gone with a utility, which I recognise, but I think there's people that can cover, and it's just a risk I'd be willing to take.
Yeah. Well, if you lose your fullback, Latrell goes to fullback. If you lose your centre, Angus Crichton goes into the centres. There's options there.
Yeah. There's a shuffling process. Not ideal, but sometimes this notion that you need a utility, I don't know. Sometimes it bites you in the arse, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think for the style of play that Maguire will be looking for, a forwards-dominated bench.
I've just got a quick question about Queensland. Do you think there's any chance that Sam Walker could come in to that team instead of DCE.
Instead of DCE?
Yeah. He's not. If you look at how they're travelling Manly and at DCE's form, I know he's a captain. I know he's like one of the greatest halfbacks ever, but his form has not been great lately.
No, but no is the answer to that question.
No, he's there.
DCE is playing, yeah. Yeah.
Munster's a big loss. That's a huge loss.
It is. But Queensland don't have that lack of depth issue like they used to.
No. Tommy Dearden's a great replacement. I mean, if you don't get him as well as Ezra Mann, there's heaps of options. Yeah. Well, let's go to the round of footy then, Jimmy, because it's still got NRL before the Origin teams are named on Monday. Starts off Thursday night at a core stadium. Your doggies, they're coming back. They're starting to come good against the Dragons. It's sort of two of the big improvers so far this year.
Yes.
Leilua's back for the Dragons as well. They've sort of missed him the last few weeks. Who do you like?
Obviously the Bulldogs. But like it's an interesting one. So the Bulldogs, they played Canberra off the bye, they played Dragons off the bye, and they played Newcastle off the bye.
So you saying that they're getting dudded by the draw?
I'm just pointing out a fact, Charlie. My two former clubs, but I think the Bulldogs will have enough to get this one over the line. They gifted 2 tries to the Raiders on the weekend. Didn't start well. They showed enough, and then But to be fair, the Dragons have really genuinely impressed me this year.
Yeah,
like in terms of surprise, it's the Dragons. Like they've been that no one expected this of them. I don't even know if deep down Flano expected it to be going as well as it is. I think they're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
like way ahead.
I mean, they're a chance of making the 8.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's Flano.
Yeah. Well, he's improved. Look at their key players.
It is him.
Jaden Sewer, his form has returned. Zach Lomax's form has returned. Tyrrell Sloan's playing the best footy he's ever played. What Wade Graham always talks about Shane Flanagan is he goes to every player and gives them a really clear role of what they need to do. And you can see that clarity has helped those Dragon players so well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Dragons, when they were like umming and ahhing about whether to choose Coach Flanagan, if they hadn't have gone with him, he'd have got the power job.
Yeah, he definitely would have.
He would have got the power job. So whoever made the call, or whoever's deliberating, thankfully they got outvoted, or the decision was made to back Flanagan. Because
did Riles pull out of the race? I think he might have done.
I think Riles was
of that.
Close to. I think he was agreed,
yeah,
and then he
pulled out.
Yeah. I don't know why, but he did. Yeah. So if it's talk about sliding doors moments. Riles takes that job. Flano ends up at Para.
Yeah, I mean he should end up at Para. You never know, because even the fact the Dragons were unsure if they wanted him was strange. Like you never know if Parramatta had that same sort of mindset.
Yeah, I guess you never do. But yeah, Flanagan, the catalyst for change there. But I've got the Bulldogs in that one.
Friday night, then Jimmy, the Cowboys against the Tigers. This game really could be anything. The Cowboys, they're desperate for a win. I mean, if they lose this one, the blowtorch is just going to be on Todd Payton, and I mean, they have to win this game for the Cowboys. The Tigers, they are in all sorts. They haven't won a game in a long, long time. Are you liking the Cowboys to get a win here?
I'm not saying this with much confidence, but yes, I am. Like the Cowboys were a bit underwhelming against South's Magic Round. The Tigers, like you say, they're in all sorts, but you've got to imagine with this team that the Cowboys have, they should have way too many points for the Cowboys. I mean, for the Tigers, like the Tigers' backline stocks are in absolute all sorts. Young halves, jeez, that is just looking at the teams here. This could be my same game multi. Actually, I'm going to change. I've got a different one, but I'm going to give a same game multi for this. Just looking at the teams, I'm going to go Cowboys 13 plus. Taolangi to score anytime.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Helam Lukey anytime.
Ooh, on the edge.
And and Tigers to be, what's their under-overs points?
Tigers points 16.5. You got the unders?
Yeah.
That's quite a high one. $10 that's paying. Cowboys 13 plus, Tuolagi anytime, Helam Lukey anytime, and under 16.5, $10 on Ladbrokes.
So under 16.5 for
Tigers.
Yeah. Give me some of that action.
Yeah, that's $10 paying $10 on Ladbrokes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to disagree with you. I think obviously the Cowboys snuck a win against the Bunnies. I've just got a feeling the Tigers win this at $4. I like it. I think
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've just got a feeling. I think things are really bad there, and I think this result could just show that. And the Tigers and Cowboys have had some strange games over the last couple of years.
They have had
Do you
some
remember
bananas games.
Cowboys beat them 70-10, or
Yes.
Tigers beat them 70-10, and they had like pretty much a reverse result.
Yes.
So I reckon you just kind of never know what you're going to get when these two clubs play, and I think the Tigers might get them.
Okay.
Second game on Friday night then is the
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm turning my phone off on Friday night. If the Tigers
Get
win
up.
or get up or even get close, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to mute you.
Even if it's a close game, basically means I'm right. Seagull Storm.
Well, this was going to be my other same game. Multi.
Okay.
I was going to go, but I'm not. But I'm going to put it out there to the world so they know, like, oh, you shit house. I was going to go Storm 13 plus Harry Grant anytime.
Okay.
But no, Manly have fallen off a cliff. They just can't play for 80 minutes. It's as simple as that.
It's a big opportunity, though. They've got no Cam Munson, no Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah, but they've got that far longer dude at the back. They'll be all right. Storm will get the win.
Raiders, Roosters, Saturday, 3 o'clock game. The Chookies have shaken things up a bit. They've dropped out Butcher. Connor Watson's obviously out for a few weeks now with that throat injury. Radley's in the back row. So they've really shuffled things around, and the Raiders just keep eking out wins.
Is there a worse injury to get than a throat?
Yeah, he's
injury?
already got that husky voice as well anyway. He sounds a bit like this.
It sounds terrible. Like getting injured in the throat. Oh.
Yeah. I've injured my throat before, actually. I was out for dinner, actually. I just sort of started working in the NRL stuff, and I was out for dinner with the Sunday crew, like Paul Kent and James Hooper and Gordon Tallis, and I had a dumpling.
Right, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Right, pause the story there, and then the listeners have got to guess what happened next.
Get your guesses in. Whoever gets it right, they can win a T-shirt and a Byron cap. Get it all.
Are we actually going to do that? We should do that.
Well, how do we police that, though? Because they can just listen to it.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They could just listen to it. Yeah.
It's an honesty policy. And then we're having Chinese, swallowed ate a dumpling, and it was like boiling hot, and it popped in my mouth. And I remember trying to play it cool, but like my throat was like on fire. And I tried to play it cool, like had a sip of a beer, and it hurt so much. And then my throat, like I couldn't swallow for like 2 weeks after. It was fully burnt and stuff. Like it was really bad.
Oh, you burnt? So hang on, you've gone the oyster.
No,
the dumpling.
And it's like got in my mouth.
Like the juice.
Yeah.
So you've not swallowed it whole and then it's popped.
Well, like I put it in my mouth and it was really hot, so then I just swallowed it.
Oh, you didn't bite it, and then
it just
you
popped in my
idiot.
throat. And I didn't tell anyone that night. I just sort of dealt with the pain and dealt with it and just drank away my sorrows. But yeah, mate, for weeks after I was in pain, you know. So always now be careful with the dumplings.
Oh, dumplings. You've almost got to like tear them a little bit at the side.
Yeah, you
don't
see.
because they pop. Like
Yeah.
the bit of a hazardous food.
They are. I
but-
forgot what we were talking about. Raiders, Roosters.
Yeah, it's throat injury.
Throat injury, yeah.
Connor Watson, and I like that story. I'd love
Try to play it off tough as well.
Yeah. But you know what?
Played through the pain.
I like that you played through the pain. You didn't. And you know what? You stayed out.
Stayed out. Yeah, stayed out to the bitter end as well.
No HIA for throat infection injury. But no, the Raiders. Oh God. They just scrap, but no, the Roosters will get the win.
They should have got too much, surely.
Yeah.
Saturday, 5:30, Sharkies against the Panthers. We said we'd be judging the Sharks after these last 3 games. They beat the Storm, they beat the Chooks, and now they got the Panthers. But they're still not getting the respect as being a true premiership contender, it feels. And I know that Storm had some injuries and Panthers. I mean, the Chooks had a couple outs of Joey Manu, and that's probably why.
Yeah.
And obviously now the Panthers have got no Nathan Cleary. But, mate, the way they're playing, that's a premiership contender.
Yeah, and the Sharks didn't have Nico in Melbourne. So
Correct, yep.
Look, the outside noise is the outside noise. You're not going to be able to do anything about that. I think the Sharks are way ahead of where we thought they'd be at this time in the season. The challenge was going to be the games against the big teams. I've said this before. They played Storm, Roosters, Penrith, 3 huge games. You've got to get 3 big games right from the back end of the year. They then so this is good practice for them in that sense. They then play, I think, Para the following week into Brisbane, which is another huge game. Then after that, they've got 11 games left, the Sharks, against, I think, in and amongst that, they've got the Warriors and maybe Manly. Like, with all due respect, that their run home, those last 11, are on the easier side of the draw. Like, they don't play Broncos again. They don't play Penrith again. Don't think they play the Roosters again. So it's quote-unquote easy air. But still, like, so they've just got to... The only chance of them gathering evidence they can beat these teams is now, and they've done it so far.
So do you think they get Penrith Saturday night?
Where's it at?
At Shark Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, then the other game Saturday night, Bunnies against the Eels. It's going to be... I don't even know what to say about that game, really.
The betting is like is even?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I think the Bunnies probably should be favourites. Are they the favourites on Ladbrokes?
No.
It's like both. Literally $8, $8.80. Yeah, $1.09, $1.90 on Ladbrokes.
Like, I looked at that because I thought, oh, maybe there'll be some value there for the on the handicap. But
I'll do a same game multi for this one. I'm going to go the Bunnies to win 13 plus and Cody Walker anytime try scorer. I think Cody's obviously playing for an Origin jersey. He's going to be up for it. That's paying $9.66.
I'm going to go Eels.
You're going to go Eels to get the win? Okay. You just think they get that bounce back effect, lose the coach?
Didn't even factor into my decision.
Yeah, just too much there.
I just think Souths are in, they're in such bad form. They were a little bit better last week, but
they're starting to look like the morals for the spoon. But I think the Eels are going to be a bit rattled. I think the Bunnies will get it. Sunday night, the Sunday afternoon, then Jimmy, the 2:00 game, Broncos Titans. You're going to be flying up there for this game, and
you've got us on the 6 a.m. flight again.
Nah, got us on the 9 a.m.
because you're flapping.
Got us on the 9 a.m. actually, so we get there at 10:30.
I've got the flight through.
Yeah, good.
Why do we have to go so early?
At 9, our 9 a.m. isn't early. We're on air at midday, so we landed at 10:30 a.m. at Brisbane Airport. We got to get then to the stadium, you know.
Mate, we could get the 10 o'clock flight. Get there at 11:30.
Get there at 11:30.
Get there like 11:15.
So any little delay, a 10-minute delay, and you're late.
Sometimes you've just got to trust the airlines.
Sometimes you just got to do what you're told and get on that flight.
Actually, don't trust the airlines. They lost one of my bags.
One of your 4 suitcases you took to Brisbane for Magic Round for a 3-day trip.
I took 2 small suitcases.
And a backpack. Yeah.
I was there for 4 days.
3 nights.
No, 4 nights.
No, but Wednesday night you got there straight away.
So Wednesday night, one night.
But that doesn't really count because you just sort of get naked into bed and just go to sleep. I don't know if you sleep naked, but I assume you would sleep naked and you get there, get into bed.
Just big, massive PJs. Sorry, I've got to pack these.
Hoodie. Have you seen those hoodies? Yeah. James Graham rolls around in an hoodie, everyone.
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I needed 2 small suitcases.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Two carry-on cases. I was made to check one. I bought a check bag, right? And then I was like, I can't be bothered taking a check bag because I want to get in and out. I want to like piss off the flight. Like, you don't want to be sat around waiting for bags. No. Get to the check-in. I said, look, I've paid for a bag, but I bought them in these 2 smaller carry-on. Can I just take them both on the plane? They were like, no. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I've paid for it, but I just can't. It's anyway. check the bag, get to Brisbane Airport, looking at the carousel doesn't come round.
Oh,
And I've got the clothes. I do a presentation in that bag tomorrow morning at like 9 a.m. start.
did they come up? Did the bag eventually
No,
surface?
I had to present in what I was wearing on the plane,
That's no good, mate.
which actually helped.
It was funny seeing you dressed with makeup on, because I haven't seen you in person with makeup on. But then Saturday you were doing Fox, and then I was floating around the press box area, and seeing you with makeup on, it was interesting to see.
What? Why?
It's just weird. I don't know. Just weird seeing you in makeup. Like
Oh yeah.
it's quite strange when you. It's funny. I don't find people wearing makeup on TV a bit strange. I know obviously you got bright lights and you got to get rid of the shininess and that, but I don't know. It was just weird seeing you in makeup.
In real life.
Yeah, I don't know if footy players need makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you don't need to look perfect. You are who you are.
Maybe we should get a makeup artist in here.
Maybe we should. The Titans need an injury artist because they just
Yes.
kept injury after injury after injury. And they got another one now. They're one of their best front rower of the year so far, Joel. He's been incredible for them.
He has been good.
He's been their heart and soul. Some weeks he's playing 70, 75 minutes. It's a shame, but he's out for 12 weeks now. He's done his pec. The Broncos get Walsh back. This could be a real carve up.
Yeah, look, the Titans, I credit them for the amount of effort they've put in the past couple of weeks, but this could get messy against the Broncos. If the Broncos want to play and get serious and things stick on a Sunday afternoon, this could be bad.
Be anything. Yeah.
It could be bad.
So you've obviously got the Broncos there. Last game. This could be one of the matches of the round.
Mate, do you know Dolphins are favourites?
They're favourites. Wow. Obviously no Roger at the moment.
Mate.
And no Sean Johnson at the moment.
Just check Ladbrokes app. I am sure.
That's a big call by Ladbrokes. Mate, yeah, it's another $1.90, $1.90 game.
Oh,
Coin
is
flip.
it? Oh,
If I was betting on this, I'd probably lean to the Warriors just because
me too.
at home.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are inconsistent, even though it's in the top four. I got hammered for saying they're boring to watch, by the way. I got hammered.
You should be hammered for saying they're
fair
boring to
enough.
watch. They are great to watch.
Yeah.
They had that game against Newcastle, which was not the best.
affected me.
Yeah. That distorted the thinking, I think, Charlie.
Yeah. Did they have a game against the Tigers that was bad as well? I've got a weird memory of that.
Yes.
I don't know. Oh, no, they played the Tigers on the weekend, didn't they? No. Yes?
Yes.
They did. No, they did. Yeah, they did.
I think you're thinking
Sunday
about
night. Yeah, they did.
There was
an
a
awful
Dolphins
game
v
as well.
Tigers. Yeah. There was a Dolphins v Tigers last year.
Yeah.
Which was a thing.
The one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they're not too bad to watch sometimes. I apologise to all Dolphins
Not
fans.
too bad, mate. They're exciting to watch. Just watch Trey Fuller and the Hammer. The best.
Have you got the Dolphins winning this one or have you got the Warriors?
Warriors. The
Warriors.
Warriors haven't come and beat Penrith in Magic Round to go home and get beat against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That's probably us done then, Jimmy, I'd say.
What? Because that's the end of the...
That's the end of the rundown.
The rundown.
Yeah, and as soon as the rundown finishes, I'd have to go.
Yeah, you're checking out. Can you give me a lift to Central Station?
I can, yeah.
Thanks, mate.
All right,
Appreciate
no worries.
it. All right, thanks for listening, everyone.